we have internally for employees only, we're testing out a portfolio, but it's really Ark on steroids, if you can believe that. We want to test it out on ourselves first and make sure that, everybody keeps their eye on that 5-year investment time horizon, which is our time horizon. What we would be doing is shorting stocks that are in the big benchmarks. S-curves will be feeding S-curves.
Hey, I'm Stephen and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So some very big news today, ladies and gentlemen. Cathie Wood has revealed a secret Ark Invest fund betting on the collapse and enormous cataclysmic disruption happening over the next 5+ years. Cathie will also be discussing a $200 trillion opportunity and sharing her thoughts around Elon Musk selling Tesla stock. If you're a long-term viewer of this channel, you'll have seen me doing my best to warn people about the inevitable collapse. Literally trillions of dollars will be going down the drain in the next few years and throughout the next decade. Why? Because of enormous disruption. Average investors out there, and we're not just talking about retail investors, but also institutional investors, are going to get absolutely wrecked and they don't see it coming. Cathie Wood and Ark Invest, however, do see this tidal wave of disruption coming and will now be putting their money where their mouth is and literally shorting, betting against some of these dinosaurs, some of these dead companies walking. So sit back, relax and enjoy as Cathie Wood exposes Ark Invest's secret fund betting against the enormous collapse of trillions of dollars of value within the stock market. If you love crypto, stocks and free stuff, or just want to help out the channel, check out these great offers. BlockFi are launching the world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card. People in the US can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase with no annual fee using the BlockFi Bitcoin rewards credit card. Check out the link in the description. And for a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $300 just for opening an account. And if you make an initial deposit of $5 or more, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $2,000. Seriously. Free stocks? Yes, please. And finally, if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Let's get back to it.
Do you have any plans or thoughts about adding short positions to one or more versions of your funds?
Well, we have internally for employees only, we're testing out a portfolio, but it's really Ark on steroids, if you can believe that. We don't think we want to test it out on ourselves first and make sure that everybody keeps their eye on that 5-year investment time horizon, which is our time horizon, and doesn't pay attention to the day-to-day, because what we would be doing is shorting stocks that are in the big benchmarks.
This is music to my ears. As I mentioned in the intro, I've been doing my best to warn investors about some of the dangers lurking around the corner in the next few years. A lot of investors foolishly have this notion that the benchmarks, the index, they're safe places to store their money. Nothing's going to happen to these big S&P 500 companies. They've been around for so long. They're nice and stable. They produce profits every single quarter. This is a safe investment. Well, as Cathie Wood is hinting at here, maybe not. Some people just fail to recognize the enormous disruption just around the corner and in fact already taking place. As Cathie Wood mentioned there, they're really focused on a 5-year investment horizon. Over the short term, anything is possible, but I just want to throw a few examples out there. 100% of the people today who own General Motors stock are morons, and when I say moron, I don't really mean moron, I mean have no idea what the fuck they're doing with their own money, because if they did, they'd be getting the fuck out of General Motors stock, in my opinion. Obviously, not investment advice, but these people would realize, GM haven't done shit towards transitioning to EVs. They have an incompetent leader. They partnered with an obvious fraud of a company, allegedly. They're planning to use dangerous and outdated pouch cells in their Ultium battery platform. They're aiming to be fully electric by 2035, a decade and a half into the future. By the way, if that's how long it takes, they'll be bankrupt well before they reach that target. So I guess technically they won't be producing any ICE vehicles by 2035 in either case. And it's not just genuine morons, government motors, whatever they stand for, GM, who are in trouble. It's practically every legacy automotive manufacturer. $1 trillion of valuation is going to evaporate in the next 5+ years, and nobody sees it coming, apart from a few smart people out there who've actually done their homework. Cathie Wood is among them. And this cataclysmic disruption, this enormous collapse, isn't just limited to the dinosaurs that produced the almost extinct internal combustion engine. There will be violent, widespread disruption across every sector, from banking to transportation to retail and everything in between. So it's quite fascinating to hear that Ark Invest are now internally testing a fund that would basically be shorting the dinosaurs to see how the results play out, and I guess over time whether or not this is something that they can eventually make publicly available to investors who want to bet against these dinosaurs surviving the decade. Let me know in the comments below if you guys and girls would be interested in this fund if it becomes publicly available. Per my latest merch design, I'm all in on Tesla stock. Check out the card in the corner or the link in the description to pick up your own shirts, hoodies, mugs, phone cases, long sleeves, loads more. Currently, I only own one stock, literally all in on Tesla. However, I would certainly be open to investing in an Ark Invest short selling fund, betting against some of these dinosaurs going extinct, because I know it's going to happen.
And when we get into a risk-off situation, what happens is portfolio managers and analysts generally run back to those stocks, get closer to their benchmarks, and they dump our stocks, which are either small parts of benchmarks or not in benchmarks. Great opportunity for us, as we have experienced during these last few days, to pick up on those stocks because it's simply a risk-off move to get closer to benchmarks. And by the way, we think the benchmarks are where the big risks are longer term because they are filling up with value traps. Those companies that have done very well historically, but are going to be disintermediated and disrupted by the massive amount of innovation that's taking place.
This is a critically important point. Most investors out there think, erroneously I might add, that investing in the benchmarks, in index funds, etc. is safe. It's a low risk way to get consistent, predictable, maybe not stunning, but consistent, predictable, positive returns over the long term. That's all good and well, unless, of course, the majority of the companies in these indexes, in these benchmarks, get absolutely reamed by cataclysmic disruption, which is exactly what's going to happen. The trouble is, most investors today, at least those who don't really do their homework and have their finger on the pulse and understand disruption, exponential growth, declining cost curves, etc., have been so thoroughly indoctrinated into this idea that benchmarks, that index funds are safe, that convincing them otherwise can be akin to trying to convince a creationist that there's actually evidence that suggests the Earth is a little bit older than 6,000 years. The difference is, of course, if you're a dumbass who believes the Earth is 6,000 years old, it's probably not going to cost you too much, at least not financially, maybe reputationally. However, if you're somebody who doesn't understand the tsunami of disruption that's already taking place and is going to cause huge, catastrophic losses in terms of valuations of companies in the indexes over the next 5 to 10 years, you may potentially face unrecoverable financial losses. Oh, and just to address the elephant in the room, as far as I'm aware, Cathie Wood herself is a creationist. Thankfully, this intellectual blind spot doesn't appear to affect her investment decisions. I'm unsure as to whether or not Cathie Wood's closer to 4.5 billion years or 6,000 years for the age of the Earth. And of course, everyone is entitled to their opinion, and I, of course, am entitled to point out when people believe extremely dumb shit.
Right now, we believe that innovation, truly disruptive innovation, is priced in the global marketplace, public markets, at roughly somewhere between $10 and $15 trillion. In 10 years, we believe that number will be $200 trillion.
So just want to take a quick moment here. $10 to $15 trillion today, 10 years time, $200 trillion. Easily a 10, 15, 20x from where we are today. Does anyone happen to know of any companies currently engaged in this so-called disruptive innovation? Let me know in the comments below. I sure would love to own stock in some of these companies. Unfortunately, I can't think of any companies like this myself, otherwise I'd buy their stock, but as you guys and girls know, I'm all in on Tesla stock. That's the only stock I've bought essentially for the last 6 years. Unfortunately, Tesla doesn't do any disrupting whatsoever, do they? And obviously, innovation, that's not something that they're really capable of either. Tesla just copies, follows. They don't lead, they don't innovate, they don't disrupt. So let me know in the comments below if you guys can think of any companies that do. I'd really like to buy their stock.
So it will go from a little more than 10% of global equity market caps to what we believe could be more than half. That's how much disruption is evolving thanks to DNA sequencing, robotics, energy storage, artificial intelligence, and blockchain technology, all of which are converging so that S-curves will be feeding S-curves.
What a comment. S-curves will be feeding S-curves. Cathie Wood is completely right. The whole idea, this concept of the convergence of multiple disruptive technologies simultaneously, means we are literally going to see disruption, the likes of which we have never seen before. There will be enormous winners, and of course, there will be huge losers. Continuing the theme of today's video, Cathie Wood and Ark Invest considering both betting on the winners and now in this new fund being tested internally at Ark at this point, also betting heavily against the losers.
We are on the threshold of the most innovative period in history, bar none. You have to go back to early 1900s, telephone, electricity, and automobile to see anything like it.
Cathie, you just mentioned that this new thing you're testing in-house, the idea of doing shorts too, would be like Ark on steroids. And I kind of already think of Ark as being on steroids. If you were to do this, you would potentially see some super big wins if you were right both on the long and the short. But if the thesis didn't work out, it seems like it could double the losses too. As you mentioned, people run away from the stocks that you guys like and go back to the benchmarks. If the companies did that again and you saw that, it could be going against you on both sides of it. Is that why you're testing it out in-house?
Yes. This 5-year investment time horizon is critical. The next 5 to 10 years, we think, are going to be spectacular. Will there be volatility? As you say, Ark already is a volatile strategy. And that is why we say, keep your eye on the prize. 5 years, the world will look nothing like it looks today. And we're invested in all of the disruptors, the winners that are going to disrupt the traditional world order.
So just want to take a real quick moment here. Cathie Wood once again reiterating that 5-year investment horizon. I've seen a lot of commentary recently, especially on Twitter and occasionally in the comments here on YouTube from people who either have an extremely short investment horizon, aka they're not actually investors, they're gamblers who think they're investors, or they have very small brains, or possibly a combination. And I see comments claiming that Ark Invest don't know what they're doing, that they've lost their touch, that Cathie Wood's a moron, that you shouldn't own the Ark funds because they haven't done anything for 6 months or even 12 months. And again, you have to think, what's their investment horizon? It's 5 years. So if you're judging Ark Invest on the performance of their funds for a period of time any shorter than 5 years, you're an idiot. You're not judging them fairly. Their own investment horizon, as they state 4,000 times every time they speak to the media, is 5 years. So you can't be judging them the performance over a short period of time because their strategy is inherently volatile. When I first started this YouTube channel a couple of years ago, I can't count the number of dickheads I saw in the comments. Bro, you're a fucking idiot, man. Tesla stock hasn't done anything for the last 5 years. This comment about Tesla not doing anything over the previous 5 years was true. From 2014 to 2019, Tesla stock effectively traded sideways. But that was totally irrelevant. Long-term investment horizon, it's not about what the stock is doing over the short term. It's about what the company is doing over the long term. Eventually, the stock market will wake up and the stock, generally speaking, will catch up. And we saw Tesla do exactly that. And as I've been pointing out from day one, I'm a long-term, multi-decade investor. I don't really care what's happening over the short term. And I think 5 years is short term. For some context, the very first piece of real estate I bought, which I still own and have no intention of selling anytime soon, was purchased back in 2010, more than a decade ago. I've been buying Tesla stock with every spare cent for practically the last 6 years, and I still think it's early. Again, I have a very long-term investment horizon. That's why I have 10-year price targets for Tesla stock available exclusively on Patreon. Check out the card in the corner or the link in the description. I have a bear case, a bull case, and a base case. And in each of these scenarios, there's enormous upside potential for Tesla stock. So I don't personally care what it's doing over the short term. In my opinion, impatience is one of the worst traits to have as an investor, at least if you want to actually make money over the long term. And I'm not talking about chump change, I'm talking about real money. So my prediction over the coming weeks, months, and years is that every time Ark Invest funds are down a little bit, or there's been a period of more than 3 milliseconds where they haven't gone up, there's going to be a load of people heaping criticism on Cathie Wood and Ark Invest, saying they don't know what they're doing, they've lost their touch, they don't know how to make money, you should stay away from their funds, etc. But my bet is, over the long term, all of Ark's funds, pick any fund whatsoever, will absolutely destroy, completely bury any benchmark, any index you want to compare them to. And I'm on the record please keep me accountable.
Cathie, I want to ask you about a stock that's obviously one of your biggest holdings, but also something that everybody focuses on. I'm not going to talk about something 5 years out. I'm going to talk about something that's 24 hours ago, in fact, which is that Elon Musk continues to sell shares in Tesla. And I'm curious what you think of that and what you think of that position. I know that you had sold some shares earlier. Where are you on Tesla?
Yeah, well, most of his net worth, or more than all of his net worth, given the debt that he has probably, is in Tesla and SpaceX. I would bet that any financial advisor would say, you have got to diversify.
I would bet that Cathie Wood is right. I think practically every financial advisor on the entire planet would recommend to Elon Musk that he should diversify his wealth. I would also bet, and this is an unlosable bet, that there isn't a single financial advisor on planet Earth that is as wealthy as Elon Musk, which is something to think about. I personally think that financial advisors and financial advice can actually be useful for a segment of the population. I just don't count myself among that segment. Let me know in the comments below if anyone watching has a financial advisor, whether or not they followed their advice and how that's worked out. You guys and girls know that I read every single comment on this channel, and I have noticed a recurring theme when it comes to financial advice from financial advisors. There's usually two tales. Either my financial advisor told me to do this, told me to diversify, told me not to buy so much of Tesla or this, that, or the other, but I backed myself, I told them to go f*** themselves and I'm much better off financially because of it. Alternatively, my financial advisor was in my ear, I followed their advice, I sold some Tesla, I did this, I diversified, blah, 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 and I wish I hadn't. Now, I'm sure there are some exceptions out there, but I've yet to read any in the comments on this channel.
Now, he went through a near-death experience in 2008. He knows that things can go wrong. And so he also has big tax bills. So understand it, take profits. There's nothing wrong with taking profits. He still is one of the biggest shareholders of the company. He is.
What did you think of the Twitter poll? The Twitter poll on whether he should sell?
Yeah, I found it interesting that the answer was, on balance, yes. Everybody understands this notion of diversification. Having gone through 2008, 2009, I think that was the biggest lesson learned. And the fact that he didn't diversify for such a long time was really taking a big personal risk.
Just to be clear, I don't think Elon Musk is diversifying for its own sake. I think, as I've mentioned previously in videos on this channel, he's effectively paying tax to get some of the insane people on the far left off his back because billionaires don't pay their fair share of taxes, and taxing billionaires will solve all the world's problems, including their own intense self-hatred. Let me know in the comments below if you guys and girls think Elon Musk was selling some of his stake in Tesla solely to diversify, or it's simply to address some of these idiots saying that he doesn't pay enough tax. Personally, I think diversification is for idiots, and just to be clear, there are idiots out there, people that don't have a great track record with investing, that are better off diversifying than losing all their money. Maybe I'm arrogant, but I personally don't consider myself among them. This is, after all, today why I'm still all in on Tesla stock. Don't forget, check out the card in the corner or the link in the description for your own I'm all in on Tesla stock merch, including the mugs, hoodies, phone cases, long sleeves, t-shirts, and plenty more. And I do just want to be clear here, although it may sound a little bit counterintuitive, I actually personally believe that I'm extremely conservative when it comes to investing. After all, per the theme of today's video, I'd much rather invest in disruptive innovation, and in my opinion, the best example of this far and away in terms of risk reward over the next 10 years that I've so far discovered is Tesla stock. Once again, if you want to understand exactly where I'm coming from, check out the card in the corner or the link in the description, sign up to Patreon, gain exclusive access to my Tesla stock price targets, or at the investor tier and above, you can access my Tesla valuation model and see every number, every assumption as to why I believe this is such an incredible opportunity. And of course, on the other end of this enormous disruption and innovation is a huge cataclysmic amount of carnage and collapse where trillions of dollars of market capitalization in the stock market will evaporate and turn to dust. And that chaos and destruction is exactly what Ark Invest's secret new short-selling fund is looking to capitalize on. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this idea, and if in the future, if this becomes publicly available, it's an ETF you can actually invest in, would you be interested in investing in Ark's gigantic bet against all the dinosaurs that are soon to go extinct? I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card, where you can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase. There's a link in the description. You can also earn up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, also linked below. And finally, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake, also linked in the description. These great offers also help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.